Hi, hello, and welcome to the Oracle Counselorship brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Ablosi. I'll be your Oracle today. I was sent to do some ALT counseling. So I'll deliberate my findings over the energy and I will impose some guidance. ALT stands for anguish, lamentation, and torment. I'm getting reports, and I was paged just now. I was paged yesterday as well. And just now I was paged a bit earlier. I was also paged yesterday. I didn't know the content and it wasn't an open subject. So I was waiting for the cue. Okay, so it's ALT, which again stands for anguish, lamentations, and torment. There's people, places, and things in the community, students, children, clients. We're receiving this kind of fugue state, this focalized, generalized, okay, I was gonna say amnesia, but amniotic, meaning we're sitting in a cesspool, we're sitting in a sack. They're trying to gestate evil into. But evil is not always darkness and the devil and Satan. It can just be living backwards, believing in your own will versus divine will. Of course, there's predestination. Of course, we co-create with the universe. We want to put spirituality first, or at least forward. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and check the energy? And then I can say more when there's more. Let me just check what deck this is. Okay, it's my Jupiter deck. And it's so funny because the priests are Jupiter and Venus, also known as Chamba and Havioso, and we have both of them out here, as you can see. We have Venus and Jupiter. Okay, yeah, so let me jump into the abyss a bit. And normally I wouldn't say that, but I know my spiritual quadrant very well. Okay, they're ready for us. My understanding is just that everybody is having some abstract version of this. It's looking like, okay, what are these feelings I'm feeling? What is this anxiety I'm feeling? Other people feel meh, bleh. Me, I'm shocked and awed, guffawed. I keep getting the feeling like I'm waking up to something that's been really obvious to everybody but me. So again, all of us, different strokes for different folks. But ALT. So this is a message from you to me. Yeah, stripping. We need to pivot and pray. Oh, and the T today, I'm trying to keep brands off the camera because sometimes YouTube gets all mad. So this is not tea, this is dirty chai, which is basically, dirty chai is specifically, this is mock dirty chai. Because dirty chai is technically a chai drink with a shot of espresso. I usually have 3 shots. I like my own cafe. So this is mock chai. So it's not even chai. What I did was I added the chai seasonings to the coffee. Now I make temple chai here. So chai always has a base of allspice, cardamom, cinnamon, or ginger, and allspice. I usually add a little bit of clove as well. So this is that, but instead of making temple chai, what I did was I added those things to the coffee. And then there's also pumpkin superfood creamer. So it's a all natural, all vegan powdered creamer. Runners use it often, and it's actually made by a pro athlete. okay, who's here in the Northwest. All right, so that's the tea today. It's a dirty chai. Great, so that's everything. A little bit of housekeeping, check the show notes, check the description box. What resonates, great. If it doesn't resonate, great. I read around major arcana, so don't expect every minor arcana to be called out. I don't call out the cards or show the cards because I don't feel called to do it. And if I feel called to do it, then I do it, and that's just that. We're soliciting donations for an overhead camera, but mainly sound right now. And if anything that is said resonates deeply with you, the contact information is in the show notes, as well as links to the wish list or donation. There's more to share, but why don't we get into this message? Because there's already multiple messages in the deck. If you hear any noise in the background, I'm on a busy street, and there's a little bit of Tibetan sound bowls in the back. Okay, I'm hearing a song right now. Okay, so the message I'm getting is that Spirit, Creator, Pachamama, the goddess, they've always been there. Oftentimes, the more divinity in the being, the more they will wait for you to ask. It's the low vibrational beings that are eager to assist you because they want something from you. So I'm hearing that whatever you're thinking, however you're processing, it's a big deal for you. And that they, Spirit, the enlightened beings, your spirit team, they've always been there for you. However, you're doing something that makes it more difficult for them to access you, so they'll only push through when you're in danger. We need to see beyond, you know, when something happens, we can what's called catastrophization, but I want to read you something. This is basically the Abyssal Creation. When you have this card, you can create anything from anything. Meaning that's why there's three swords in the heart, because it's mind over matter in that sense. It's you feel the way you feel because of how you're deciding to think. When your thoughts change, your feelings will change. Just another quick bit of housekeeping. I do plan on having opening prayers and things of that nature. I did my prayers before coming to the channel here, so I just know one thing is sure, they don't want us speaking. The dark elements don't want us speaking right now. So that's what this is. We're being stripped, but it's more of a pivot. And honestly, the best thing to do is pray. It's kind of a blanket statement, but it's mentioned here. Because we have impulse, drives, desires, passions, motivations, ambitions. I'm hearing the word impetuous, impulsive. So we're eager to get moving. We have this desire, this drive alive in us to make some progress. And there's some abstract version of minor blockages, but it's blockages because we're not in alignment with creation. The universe is trying to manifest something. I'm getting sun. So first of all, when I have a triple sun energy like that, it means, first of all, clarity, truth, even, but enlightenment, growth, enlightenment, vitality, reinvigoration. You know, with that sun, it's talking about faith in creation. So not only do we have a small glimpse of the future, but we understand, or we will come to understand, how we're driving forward and where we need to have faith and where we need to be practical. There is a transformation transition coming, but we need to be in alignment with the self, because there's an alliance with the higher self. Our true authentic self needs to be in alignment with our higher self. But the truth is that our true authentic self is the higher self. So our primal self, meaning what's incarnated down here, and all of our own ego, all of our own will, not God's will. There's some situation. We have a situationship here. So the situation is that things come before God. Now, also, there's some karmic retribution. Those that have done some questionable things, whether we know, don't know, whether we can affect change or not affect change, or decisions coming down. The universe itself, they're going to give some karmic expiations. But I'm hearing a trumpet being sounded with your death fast, open your ears to the sound of the trumpet, open your mind. What do you want from a life that is hopeless? Okay. Well, see, Spirit's been trying to communicate something, and we seem to be on the outs, somewhere else, not paying attention, or just seeing the truth and keeping down the road because the truth is inconvenient. So the first thing we have here is the Nine of Swords. Things are obvious, but not obvious to us. We're in the dark. And now it can be a little bit of cruelty. It can be that we're in the perfect situation to be exploited, is what I'm hearing the word. I've been hearing the word astral attachment. So that basically there's energy in our aura, and really it's some kind of mechanism of spying. I did see a witch lurking. So this exploitation, it's really more a vulnerability that can be exploited. So master yourself, or others will master you. Think for yourself, or others will think for you. It's kind of like marketing, brand yourself, or you'll be branded by others. Pick a side or stand for something at least. But we don't have to stand for something. 7 of Wands. So the reason that we need to pick, is because there's final energy moving. Energy is finally here. And it's been a long time in coming. So it can be that the light starts to shine in the darkness. And if you're of the dark, that's going to be problematic. But if you're a light being in the dark, you're going to have illumination, enlightenment, growth, expansion, vitality, renewal, healing, even. You won't be left in the dark. Now, sometimes when the sun comes up, certain beings don't like that, mainly vampires. But there should be something that you're working on which will give you a completion. success. But what we should be working on is clarity, illumination in this darkness. I'm confused what this darkness is. I hope it comes out. We've been sowing, planting seeds of some kind, whether we know it or don't know it, whether we're conscious of it or not conscious of it, and they're not always good seeds. Sometimes we invest in something or we're investing in a way that's not helpful. It could actually be harmful. Now, some of it is a lack of gratitude or resting on our laurels. Now, another translation is that the situation's been left, it hasn't been shifting. That can be because there's things that we're not aware of. I left for a moment. I went to my twin and started having a conversation. I'm going to share a bit of it. I was saying to them, I'm a little naive, gullible. I don't quite see or fit in or interpret or catch what everybody else is catching. So what I'm gathering is that there's something really obvious here to the average person. And we're sitting in our divinity, but our divinity makes us look pretty naive and innocent, or gullible and stupid, dumb, even idiotic, imbecilic, moronic. I'm not using those words for the technical meaning. I'm using those words to drive home an idea, dramatize an idea. Imbecile, moron, idiot, that actually refers to a level on the IQ scale that's below average intelligence. Idiot being 0 to 25 IQ, 26 to 50 IQ being imbecile, and 51 to 75 IQ being moron. And you ratchet up the scale, meaning your ability to even recognize you're in a mess, let alone having the judgment or the wherewithal to get out of it, and then ratchet up, you'll get all three of those. But typically a moron is still below average intelligence. 76 to 100 is below average intelligence. 101 to 125 is average intelligence. Okay. And that means you can recognize, you understand when you're in something, and if you don't have the solution, you can solicit the solution. You know how to go find it. So that's that new agey kind of deal, because new age doesn't have anything to do with the hippie, dippy, trippy, stony, you know, whatever. It actually just means something's new. Like the email was once upon a time new age because before that was the fax machine or snail mail. Now snail mail is considered old school. Once upon a time, email was new age because it brought in, it ushered in newness and new age. So everybody understands, like me, I have this problem. I don't do Instagram like everybody or Facebook like everybody. I do not care. And I know it's necessary, but I'm just a late adopter. I'm not with the program. I have an account. Okay, so there's all these obvious things that people talk about on Instagram that I just don't get. I just don't understand. It's the same thing. Some people will be like, well, what's Black Twitter? You know, it's obvious to certain people and not so obvious to other people. So it's whatever's going on, this anguish, lamentation, torment. We may have attackers, abusers, or there just may be a late adoption to energy. So the energy of ascension, the energy of change is upon us. It's actually been around for quite some time. And now we're being almost forced to harmonize into a track that we don't even like, into a song that we wouldn't normally sing. Now, the reason that it's like this is because there's going to be a new vibration for the next level of ascension, and we're still trying to merge into the old level of ascension, ascension being the upgrade. So we're behind on one software update, and there's about to be a second software update, and we're still running an operating system from 2 generations ago, or 1 generation ago, about to be 2 generations ago. So we need to be planting seeds of progress. The word here is swiftness, 8 of Wands. Now I have the Death card and the Sun card out. So there, I do want to say the karmic broom's going to be sweeping the earth. There is going to be a lot of souls leaving, but also there's going to be a lot of cord severing, cord breaking, curse breaking, because we're different. We can't, most of us are different. Most of us, by accident, without even knowing, grew. And we don't know how we got here. So if you're very deeply in tune and you're up with the program and you know all the new ascension details and about the Great Awakening and all that, I might not be talking to you. But if you're feeling a lot of anguish and lamentation lately, there is one thing for sure that you're missing. Common problem for myself as well. This anguish, cruelty, torment is because we need to work on something, and we're being given something to work on, and we're very slow. It's almost like we keep trying to kill this change that's coming in, and this change is it's irrevocable. Yes, the Death card normally is, but it's a transformation, but it's strict and severe. It's coming no matter what. Whenever anything is attached to the Death card, it means there's no negotiation. You might be able to soften the blow, soften the burden, but with whatever is attached to the Death card, there's no way around it. It just might be a better way through it. So it attached to the Death card is the Sun here. So there's an inevitable clarity coming. There's an inevitable awakening coming. There's an inevitable revitalization, and it's confirmed. So like add the keyword inevitable to whatever the next thing or previous thing to the Death card is. So there's growth, expansion, vitality, renewal, reinvigoration, revitalization, illumination, enlightenment. That's the Sun card. Growth even. It even can be material abundance, but we're working on manifesting something here. And it's inevitable with that Death card. Spirit's been trying to get us to see this. Spirit's been trying to get us to notice this. And we've been otherwise occupied, judging, or trying to keep our standards and boundaries. But you see, if you were abused and you had to survive, you also need to look at the tactics to survive, because those might need to be unlearned as well. And abuse is a very loose word. It means abnormal use. If you don't love the right way, it might just be strange love, eccentric love, or it might be abusive love. If you don't eat the right way, it might not be a weird diet, weird eating habits, it might be abusive eating. Eating disorder is what we would call that, etc. Drugs, alcohol. Alcohol on its own isn't that bad. Drugs on their own aren't that bad, but when they're misused, abused, so once we recognize that we have a vision for this growth, expansion, vitality, renewal, there will be some cold hard truths. So most of this anguish is because we're not seeing a truth the way we should be seeing a truth. I'm looking to see if I have a pen and paper here. I want to take some notes. Bugger. I don't got it. So this growth, expansion, vitality, renewal, reinvigoration is clarified by the King of Wands and the Page of Swords, the Princess of Swords. What that tells me is we want clarity. We're looking for clarity. We're looking for truth. We're going to get it any way that we can get it. In actuality, we should just have a bigger, brighter, and better vision for the future, something, a drive, desire, passion, motivation, and allow that information to come forward. We might not know how we want to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C, elemental P. We might have a dream to open up a restaurant. We might not know who, what, when, where, how. We might have all these reasons why not to do it. But if that's what's strongly alive in us, if it's like a burning desire, King of Wands, the universe is going to start to provide information. Maybe they provide an investor. Maybe they provide truth on how to be successful. When everyone around, I don't see people surrounding people, but when everybody around might be knocking down that idea. Of course, restaurants, for example, most of them fell in the first year. Most businesses fell in the first 5 years, but most restaurants fell in the first year. It's a high cash, low margin business for the most part. So this is saying, if you have drive, desires, passions, motivations, soul's desires, heart's ambition, it'll come through, but there will be some cold, harsh truths to face. Mainly, that would be negative, but with this corresponding queen, it would say you need discernment or you will go through this situation in the dark. And that's why it feels cruel. That's why we're anguished. Anguish, lamentation, 9 of Swords. It's totally, in this deck, it's called cruelty. I'm so glad that's what came out. External to us is this slow progress, this energy that's been here for quite some time. We're just becoming aware of it or just aligning with it, different strokes for different folks. But we're allowing the seeds of this energy to plant themselves, and it should give us discernment on how to manifest abundance. It's not always money, but it can also very well be, because all these seeds of energy being planted, it manifests physically. So it should make us chosen on any level, in any case. It should basically equate with us being chosen. But another word for chosen is being given what you want consistently. The universe conspiring to help you. So the universe is conspiring to help everybody, but some people, when they call down from the heavens, it comes a lot quicker. So this thing we're working on is clarity, because we were overwhelmed. We might have even been under some type of confusion. And again, what we wants us, and what wants us is the co-creation with the universe. Belief, faith, hope, optimism. And that's what the universe wants. Healing, soul healing, because we're being guided out of the matrix. And we need to allow this process, because God loves us and wants to protect us, but there is some kind of energy trying to keep us stuck and small. Now, we can be this energy. We could be putting a block. I remember we had the first clarification, the first round, really, of this battle, whether it's inner, external, with another person, plus a thing, or just ourselves, our higher self, primal self. It starts with the Queen of Swords, ends with the King of Swords. So here it starts, here it ends. Queen of Swords, King of Swords. Queen of Swords is discernment. King of Swords is judgment. So we were up until recently blocking, putting a block on whatever was trying to come in. We have 2 8s here. So that's messages about how we've been indulging, spending our time. Right now in the reading, there's actually 3 eights. So there's a creation from how we've been spending our time. It doesn't matter if we've been stuck on stupid is what I'm hearing, but slow to adopt, slow to adapt, so slow to evolve. They said stuck on stupid. I was trying to say it doesn't matter if we've been slow. Now, right now we have 2 queens. Two twos talks about a friendship and an alliance. 2 queens can talk about conflict. 3 queens, definitely. 2 queens could talk about rivalry. So I just feel like this thing coming through, this thing coming in, the darkness doesn't want us to receive it. Whatever glow up, bless up is on the way, the dark side does not want us to have it. So again, we were working on something. We will have to leave something behind, move on from something. Now it's to get to higher ground. So if something's been a struggle, or we've been worried about doing something the right way, progress is better than perfection. But the spirit of confusion and the spirit of turmoil should be cast out. There's that 9 of swords came back here on the throne. So externally, what this is going to look like in the collective is we move on from the collective sleeping spell, the collective confusion into healing. And we have discernment where we can see things as they are permanently. And again, we had the queen over here before, now it's over here. We had the king over here before, now it's over here. And it's the king of swords and queen of swords. Same. So again, we have 2 queens. We also have 2 kings. So there is alliances, partnerships, definitely. Because we need to get right with God. This wanting, hoping, wishing, praying, yearning, searching, seeking, we're looking outside of ourselves. That's this main blockage here. We need to surrender our will over to a higher power. And that's, I'm gonna plant the seed because not everybody can hear that. Now, there should have been some losses. Not always is it could be loss of our esteem. We might have loved somebody, trusted somebody, and all of a sudden we wake up one day and we look at them a different way. It can sometimes be because a truth comes out, but also we're no longer able to ignore our standards. We have 3 eighths again. So somebody is approaching. something is approaching, creates. A situation is finally over. However, we need to wrap something up inside of ourselves. Let's look at this discernment. Yeah, we're working on something that is worthwhile because the universe is trying to offer us something, and it's almost like we can't accept this blessing. So that's called looking a gift horse in the mouth. What we're trying to adopt is being secure in the self, because there's cycles of manifestation here that we're not tuning into fully. So some of it is study, others of it is waiting games. A lot of it is things just moving too slowly. Some of it is needing to work on the self from the inside out, growth, expansion, vitality, renewal. So that's self-knowledge, self-mastery, self-governance, especially with that King of Wands. We also have the King of Swords. Oh, here it's the King of Pentacles. Before it was the King of Swords. So that's about the great manifestation. I'm hearing establishing base of operations. Right now, we're delayed on doing that. Now, there could have been some cheating, bickering, backstabbing, whether with a person, place, or thing. The beginnings of jealousy, really it's competition. So if my upper thigh itches, it talks about the 5th house or the 9th house. It's my right thigh, so it's talking about the 5th house. So that's Leo, generative energy. That could also be talking about this King of Wands. Again, we're going to start reaping from the seeds that we sowed previously. And there's something that's been harvesting for quite some time. The main thing here is going to be a shift in perspective, awareness. But minorly, we might be needing to learn something about a skill or even the self. Self-mastery is key here, because there's going to be deep, deep, deep transformation. And collectively, there is going to be a lot of endings around us, including deaths. Now, for most of us watching, it's not going to be close to us. And that message there, the karmic room is sweeping, it's 2021 to 2024. So a lot of souls are leaving the earth, but it's preparing for a great awakening. Those people, if the veil drops, they would be destroyed, not just die or shocked to death. Literally, they'd be removed from the timeline. There's some key concrete information that I can't go through it all. So a lot's being taken away. I don't see a 5 of Cups. I saw a 5 of Pentacles, which tells me that the shift, the pivot had mostly already happened. It was no longer an emotional thing. It was a reality that had set it. Now, why was that itching going on? Because it's over. Well, I don't understand what I just got. Something about going away to college. Now, again, this is like fifth house. It's your bachelor's degree is the fifth house. So it doesn't mean you need to leave your location. It just means you need to get to a higher ascent inside the self. Get to, maybe you're living in the heart, now start to live out of the throat chakra. Maybe you're already there and start to live out of the third eye, that kind of deal. Because there's some very firm boundaries. And honestly, we need to either accept defeat or guard against defeat, because this is about being owned, enslaved. You could be a debt slave, you could be a wage slave, you could be a debtor. Okay, so I'm starting to hear some things. You know, there is some subtle warfare here. There's just no way around it. But it looks to me more like protection. So we have 2 kings, 2 knights, 2 pages, and before we had 2 queens. We have 2 fours, and 3 eights for, 3 eights. So the 2 fours talks about a foundation. So nothing's being stripped. What's being stripped is the thinking, how we process and where we go to for support. Now, sometimes support has to deal with the system, the structure, the foundation that you apply to a situation. For instance, my cat was tracking litter through the house. I had to put it in a different location in the house. And I had to get one of those little mats that you put under the litter thingamabobber so that it would get caught and it wouldn't be tracked, because that's nasty. To me, I can't do that. So I was in anguish, literally pulling my hair out like this. This cannot be. And then all of a sudden, a solution came. And I was thinking about everything, getting rid of the cat, moving, because there's nowhere else in the house. This is an example, very petty example, but there's nowhere in the house that really the litter box can go. It needs to be in the bathroom. Otherwise, it's in plain sight, or the smell is the place that I can't tolerate. So I was thinking about everything, including getting rid of the cat, and the universe provided the solution. I'm at Target one day, and literally in the pet aisle, Target's like, you need to take this home with you. Just like that. And I made myself open, and I wasn't thinking that. That wasn't the plan that I had. The plan that I had was to get a different cat and to move. I'm the kind of person, throw it out the window, buy another one. It doesn't always work, but it usually does. So that's just an example, very petty one. I can't come up with a better one right now. So this slow moving progress, we need to plant seeds, do the work. I want to read you something. There's things that are yet to come. Sometimes when what you are creating is at a certain point in manifesting, there's little to do but to wait and consulting wise ones about anything that can be done to support said manifestation. And then eventually those seeds that are planted, they'll integrate themselves. The potential of life is not different from the life that actually exists. It is in the roots of the earth and in our ancestors. It is here now in you and me. It is waiting in the souls of those yet to live. So this is a generational shift coming. And that's why we have this ALT, anguish, lamentation, torment. Some torment is because we're holding on, keeping on, and that would be the people, mostly people. We have the Two of Cups here. So we're thinking we have a plan, a strategy to re-engage, recapture, reevaluate even, reconcile. And it's really, your vibe attracts your tribe, which also means it repels people who aren't like you. So when you meet a person on January the 1st, by April 30th, you may be growing apart from them when initially you were growing together, but you might have kept getting better. It's like if one person goes into the cocoon, also known as a chrysalis, and comes out a butterfly, and the other person goes into the cocoon, also known as a chrysalis, and comes out a moth, y'all were compatible, y'all attracted each other at one time, and then you will repel because a moth and a butterfly, they're not going to be hanging out in the same environment, surrounding locations. They thrive on different things. So we're going to use the Chakra Wisdom Oracle by Tori Hartman. This is a message to the reader. And I was thinking about two things while this came through, so I'm not going to share. I'm hearing that song from the Touched by an Angel. You know, Della Reese sings it. And I can hear the lyrics. I'm trying to understand how it applies. Give me a second. Well, the song says, you know, something about driving down the road, X, Y, Z, L, M, O, P, A, B, C, T, U, V, F, G. But he goes, I will walk with you. I will walk with you. I will rise and I will walk with you. To the sun don't even shine. I will walk with you every time. And so these two nights here, they could be the spirit team. I was looking for a 6. The 6 is left, but then the 2s came out to play. So that's a message. It's usually not just the spirits specifically that might not be ascended masters, elevated, you know, ancestors. These are ancestors that recently died in the last 50 to 100 years. In the last, up to 50 years ago. So these are ancestors. These knights in the deck here, they're ancestors. Okay, confirmation came through. I get it, I understand, I understand. Okay, so now let's overstep. Okay, all right. Look up that song. I don't know. I think you can do it on like the Google store, the YouTube, which is still Google. You can put opening theme to whatever show, and the show that I'm talking about is Touched by an Angel. I do a lot of old shows so that I can, like do laundry, make dinner, play with the kitty, and have something playing in the background. Because I like to watch foreign things and they have subtitles, so we kind of need to be in the same room. When I'm just doing house chores or temple cleaning, I don't really want to be engaged. The TV is like a babysitter. I don't want to feel like I have a babysitter, And it's a worse babysitter for adults than it is for children, I believe. Ooh, 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 ooh. Really reading us to filth here. We just got snatched by Spirit, y'all. Ooh, my goodness. Spirit was like, hey, honey. You okay, baby? I just need to make sure. You all right still? Okay. Just making sure. I had to let that out. So we have on our side rejection, and I don't see another person, so it will be individually, collective. So individually, rejection. And see, this gray card is the crown chakra. And then we have completion, which doesn't look that great, but it's actually the second chakra. What is that? It might be the Muladhara, but the second chakra talks about your place in this world. And then this is on the grounds of impatience, clarified by trickery, fourth dimension, expansion, fifth dimension, gossip, sixth dimension. So other people, places, and things, gossip, we're being given lip service. Like this is, to me, is taking medical advice from your mechanic. They love you very well, but they're advising you on something that they would do. And I would say that I'll do what you do when I want your life, when I want what you have, when I want to get what you get, I'll do what you do. If I'm trying to become a doctor, I'll ask you what you did to become a doctor. If I'm trying to buy a house, I'll ask you how your home buying process was. If I'm trying to start a business, I'll ask you what your entrepreneurial experience was. But if you ain't living how I want to be living, I ain't going to be asking you advice. Now, a mentor is different than a coach, is different than a friend, is different than a cheerleader, an advocate. A mentor has attained what you want to attain, but they've come from where you're coming from. So they can tell you what they went through and what they tried and what worked for them. Now, some mentors are just fellows, people in fellowship. For instance, the 12-step community. There are people in that room, in that meeting that have 20 years clean, and there are people in that room, in that meeting that have 20 days clean or sober. So sometimes gossip is great, but you see there's two sides here, and both of them have their arms crossed. So look at what colors they're wearing. This one's wearing beige and gray, and this one's wearing purple. So one person is listening, or one side is listening to doubt, and the other one is listening to accept. And in the middle is neutral. Green is the middle chakras. There's 3 chakras above, 3 chakras below. So you have beige, basic Becky here. And then let's not even call her impetuous Karen. Let's just call her somebody that can use that knowledge, apply it, versus somebody who's going to be muted with the information. And so that's, again, I'm hearing, don't take medical advice from your mechanic. Straight up. Don't take no medical advice from your mechanic, because you're going to expand. See, the blue is higher, it's 5th chakra, green is 4th chakra. So expansion is really more, I'm hearing cascading epiphanies. So all of this energy, it sets off a wave, a cascade. And you may make it through one thing, but then the next thing is right behind it. So you might get over one truth that was harsh, or you might have one realization that really kind of blocks something up, or gives you an aha moment. And then after that aha moment, you're like, oh, crap, what I do, oh fudge, I'm a little stuck now. For instance, you may get a new job, but suddenly you have to stop spending so much quality time with a significant other. Maybe they're new. Maybe you need to take a different drive to work, or now have an expense that you normally wouldn't have, like maybe childcare or parking or gas. Maybe you spend $100 on gas a quarter because you don't go anywhere, you work from home, and suddenly you commute to work and you're spending $400 on gas a month. Example. Maybe all of a sudden you have to do childcare or deal with a mother-in-law, an in-law that you wouldn't normally talk to because you need support. So this expansion, it brings in new, but it also makes you look at some, if not all, of the old things. And it may not be negative. It really is perspective. This low in the chakras, it's really a perspective thing. Same thing with this on our side. We're being blessed. The universe is trying to raise our vibration, but we're again rejecting it. So this person wearing the beige, they're rejecting. Spirit is, with an open heart, lovingly trying to help us expand. And so what's happening is the heart is too myopic, third dimension, doesn't want to get expansive, fifth dimension. The heart doesn't want to move into a higher, bigger, brighter, better, more. The heart would rather deal with the devil they know, stay the same. Okay, but I'm hearing that in staying the same, you're going to recognize, you're gonna have the same recognition, and there's new energy, or there's new demons, or there's new devils. And if you don't become a new you, you're gonna see these new people through old eyes. So you won't be able to recognize danger. And it's not always a person, it could be a place or thing. You could have been responding to something a certain way, or going about something a certain way, or planning about something a certain way, or sitting in an energy, congregating, coalescing, acquiescing in a certain way that no longer works. You need to allow for growth, renewal, change. So this is on the grounds of impatient. We're wanting to grow, but we keep labeling things. The why of the why of the why of the why. And externally it's completion. So it looks like ending. So we're trying to hold on to certain things, but I'm going to say this, and it's unpleasant. I have a stronger connection to females once they're dead. Now, let me be specific. I'm talking about mother figures. I had many. In India, they say you have 7 mothers. What does that mean? Well, the wife of your professor is a mother. The wife of your boss is another mother. The wife of your neighbor is like another mother. If you have a favorite restaurant, like me, I eat Lebanese food pretty regularly. There's this one place I go to 3-4 times a week sometimes, but at least once a week. It's not far at all. I can walk there. They know me by name. They know exactly what I eat and what I don't eat. And sure, I don't order the same thing, but the owner of the restaurant, his wife is like a mother to me. She always gives me new things to taste. She always comes out and gives me free drinks. She always checks in with me, what she said. And she's not there all the time, but I'm there all the time. And if she sees me, she's going to come and say hi to me. So that's like another mother. Your auntie is a mother. This is how in ancient cultures that they run. So what I'm saying is I'm closer to mother figures once they die. It's because when they're an ancestor, I'm less prone to reject what they're saying, because I'm pretty set in my ways. And if you try to change me, I will go to war with you without even trying. I won't even have to think about it. Immediately you're exiled. And I don't mean I get rid of you. I'm just saying, good luck with that. You're not gonna. There's too many landmines on that battlefield. So one thing that I notice is changing. There's places in my life that I change very quickly, but there's places in my life that I don't change very quickly, and I'm way behind everybody else. The biggest thing for me personally is I really suck with the phone. The happiest time of my life was the 6 months I went without a cell phone after having had 4 cell phones break on me in 6 months. Okay. I was finally walking around one day and needed directions to something. It was like, oh, I probably do need a phone. Literally, I hadn't noticed for the months and months before that needing a cell phone was good. Because to me, I come home, get on the computer, use my VoIP, and I'll be fine. No. So again, just because there's an ending doesn't mean there's a death. And oftentimes, when something transforms, transitions, you can appreciate it more. And that thing never leaves, energy never dies, it just transforms. All these mother figures I've had through the years, I'm much closer to them now when they're go and sit with the ancestors. What does that mean? I have a lot better appreciation and reverence for the impact they had in my life than when they were here close to me. I had physical access to them. The Guru's wife is also a mother. In India, they say you have 7 mothers. Okay. So for the spiritual children out there, because they're the ones who got me to do this, let me. They want me to say something. So holding on to things, this is what's creating this lamentation. It's in our mind, really in our instinctual nature. So it's a fear-based mechanism, but not fear of survival. We're wanting to protect against something because we worked hard for something or we invested a lot into something. It's not always going to be a person, but the old way is leaving. We're having a changing of the guard. We're ushering a new way. It's a new vibrational reality. It's coming soon, by the summertime. And instead of sitting back and unwinding, we're going crazy, going mad, insane with this consistent reverberation. We're actively working on something. But what's right in front of us, we're ignoring, we're rejecting. For whatever reason, typically in attachment, we do have the 4 of Pentacles out here. There is a large attachment to the old way. Why? Because it was comfortable and known. Wasn't I talking about addiction too earlier? So also, when you do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result, that's insanity. But there's more to that. Your thinking affects your actions affect your results reinforce your thinking. Results come from behaviors come from beliefs come from ideals come from conditioning. Outcomes are based on performance. Consistent performance is based on behaviors comes on actions comes from thoughts come from ideas come from beliefs come from conditioning. Okay, so I've just gave you a basic model. So another thing that I'm picking up here is that we just have an old way and it's evolved too much. And if we don't evolve with it, we get left behind, but also we bury ourselves. And loved ones are going to try to come around. You know, for me, when these mother figures are trying to love on me, they just come at me the wrong way. Their approach doesn't even matter if what they're saying is viable. If you're unskillful when you communicate with me, you are shut down. I don't need to say nothing. Something in me just dies. I may love you, girl, but I don't like you right now. Excuse me. I'm on. I don't even need you to pop up at the mouth. You're already done. The moment you open your mouth, my ear, which depending on which ear rings, depends on what I'll take and what I will not. So again, we rejected some things and not everything was negative. Sometimes we're rejecting a new idea, a new method, evolution. We're rejecting something that's helpful. Because if this is ancestral, they're at least in the green. The ancestral realm is the fourth dimension. That's the fourth chakra. Now, those are not the ascended, elevated ancestors, fifth, ascended ancestors, sixth. The ones that are deified, turned into gods, seven. Okay, these are the ones that recently passed. Now, the second chakra, they do go to judgment, but typically they go right to the fourth dimension after that. They skip over the third dimension. So this fourth dimension is the astral plane, and it's also the quarantine, the firmament, if you would. So for some reason, this is relevant because the second chakra has to do with our place in this world. It's how we process our feelings. Okay, so feelings start out as emotions. And emotions, when we process emotions, they become feelings. So we're having feelings of needing to hold on, keep something the way that it is. We're unwilling, unable to change or evolve. And if we are, we're unwilling, unable to change or evolve fast enough. So some of us aren't willing to do it at all, and others of us are not willing to do it enough or quickly enough. You invite me out for Thai food, I'm going to decline. I'm going to say, can we go somewhere Middle Eastern, Mediterranean? It doesn't need to be my favorite Lebanese restaurant, but I'm not eating Asian food because I don't like it. There's one item I like, lemongrass soup. I don't want to try. I've put years into trying. I'm done. I'm pretty fixed. No, I don't want your little American food, your little hot dogs and sandwiches. I want some tabbouleh, some hummus, some falafel. Otherwise, go away. Right? So I'm in the same boat, unwilling to change at all or fast enough. Now, I don't think it's going to put me in a grave, for example, but I might miss what's right behind me, and I might not even notice the sunrise. Growth, expansion, vitality, renewal, reinvigoration, enlightenment, illumination. So be careful what you reject. Be careful, because it's not just the ideas, it's also the intuition. Whatever he's painting on the canvas, whatever he's trying to manifest, it takes on a life of its own and it starts manifesting according to its own vibration. I grew up in Southern California. It's Middle Eastern or Mexican. I eat just as many burritos as I do falafel sandwiches. Okay, so let's keep going here because I was going to pull from this. This is the deck I use for my spiritual children. There was a message to the reader here, and what I noticed at first was the two fives. Here's a message, another message. They're saying that the seed of your understanding has been planted, but I should grow it and expand it a bit more. And I'm like, I should be done. I've talked enough. But like, no, you're about to break somebody out of something, keep going. Okay, well, give me something to share then. Oh, that's what they want. Okay. So being secure in the self means having a vision about how you're going to manifest your own future. However, there is things that you need to incorporate. Sometimes manifesting this future, you'll know step A, step B, step C, and you may or may not know step D. And sometimes a an offer will come advising on what to do for step D, and it may be bigger, brighter, better, or worse, and you need to have discernment on that. Okay, you see what I'm saying? That's the truth. Ace of Swords is the truth. Yeah, because the way Spirit communicates with us, Five of Pentacles, they take away our health or our wealth. That's what gets our attention pretty quickly. But the Five of Pentacles could also be a physical manifestation of a pivot, a forced change, a voluntary change. It also can talk about how you can stuck on stupid poverty mentality, but also how an idea can strip you. You can literally, it's that proverbial quitting 5 minutes before the miracle happens, or traveling 1,000 miles across the desert to dig for gold and packing up and going home afoot before you reach the goal. There's this story where these 3 girls are swimming across the lake and 2 of them die. None of them make it across the lake. And it's one of those crude male jokes they tell about a blonde, a brunette, and a redhead, right? Well, one of them, basically the blonde is the one who survives, but she's still stupid because the one of them, maybe the redhead, maybe the brunette, swims a quarter of the way across the lake and dies. And then the other one, pick it, redhead, brunette, doesn't matter because I don't care. I'm not crude like those masculine jokes. So the next girl, she makes it halfway across the lake and dies. And the blonde, she makes it to halfway across the lake and is like, oh, I'm tired. And so she turns around and goes back. And the message is, if you're halfway across the lake and you're tired, don't turn around, continue on. So that's the message of that joke. And that's the thing, don't quit 5 minutes before the miracle happens, but also don't block abundance. If God is trying to upgrade you, let him, let them. So this is saying also bring order over chaos. If you know what you want, be able to recognize when what you want comes near you, but also sometimes what you want will come in bigger, brighter, and better. There's this joke, it's a crude joke. It's a part of me. Let me tell it through this deck. Basically, there's this woman at a bar, and she's drinking and entertaining herself or whatever. And a man sits on the other side of the bar and sends her a drink. And she declines the drink, sends it back with a note saying, hey, homie, if you don't have an 8-inch and drive a Mercedes and $1 million in the bank, I ain't gonna mess with you. And he's like, well, I'm never gonna cut 2 inches off my phallus, and I would prefer to drive a Land Rover, which I have, and a Maserati, which I have, and I don't have $1 million in the bank. I have $100 million in the bank. Does that mean you don't want me? Because sometimes what you want comes for you, but it's bigger, brighter, and better. And if you're so myopic, you might not recognize that what you want has showed up. Yeah, okay, so now we have the proper guidance. That joke really helped, apparently. It opened up the door for this energy to move. I want to be done with this deck. Y'all know how much I dislike this deck. It just talks forever, and it can get very mean. But this is good. It's Six of Wands and the Knight of Cups, the Prince of Cups. So there's a message here: be on the winning team, be on the side of ascension, be an early adopter. If you want to languish and lag behind, okay, but your abundance and your blessings and your benefits are not going to wait for you. They're going to be assigned to someone else who can move quickly. And I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. I'm not a quick mover. I think rapidly, but I move slowly and methodically. And if I feel rushed, I'm going to get nasty with you. I'm going to get really mean and cranky really quickly. So I hate that. Move fast, don't miss out. If I recognize the opportunity, great. If I didn't recognize the opportunity, great. If it really was for me, it wouldn't pass me by. That's not the message here. The message is if you are willfully ignorant and you bury your head under the sand, it will pass you by. So in order to be victorious, want, hope, wish, pray, yearn for bigger, brighter, and better, and recognize when bigger, brighter, and better comes. And if accepting or incorporating this blessing is too much of a burden, make sure you pray. That's what that Nine of Cups was saying. Because that Six of Wands was saying victory. You overcame certain odds, meaning not everybody is going to ascend. Not everybody is going to awaken. You did. Great. Now you have to go towards the journey. You have to expand earnestly. It keeps saying be on the winning team. See, this deck is like judgy. I feel like that's somebody's personal opinion and not spirit speaking from the Akashic record. And there's some trickster energy here too. We have the Magician and the Moon, which could talk about deceit, lies, sorcery, even. But with the King of Cups, there's a cleanliness to that soul. So I can trust it, but I don't want to. Meaning, well, first of all, I'm hearing your eyes can fool you. Once bitten, twice shy. That's true. This is Tarot the Erotica, so be mindful. Once bitten, twice shy. The Moon card. Cunning, baffling, and deceptive. If the Seven of Swords was around, truly, genuinely cunning, baffling, and deceptive. And I can see why, because right around the bend here with the Fool, we have the Devil. So we can unknowingly walk into hell. But see, the Fool can walk into hell and walk out and not even know. The Fool can put his head in the lion's mouth and not even know. So I won't wait for you. 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 Cry now so you can fall down and get back up. Don't fall down in the future when everybody's making a mad rush towards the higher vibration. If you're struggling now, embrace the struggle, because don't be a late adopter here, because the energy won't wait for you. It's been waiting for since 2012. It's finally here. The trumpet has sounded. Pence was already on the 2020 election ballot. Okay, so that's the message. Stay ready to ink us to get ready. Yeah, we're resting on our laurels. We really just want to stay comfortable. Okay, it's great to enjoy the fruits of your labor, but you also have to be willing to labor. That's unacceptable. The significator for this deck is missing. Oh, humbug. Okay, I know it's on the front here. Oh, that was the Lovers. I'm looking for the Sun card. Grant me a minute. It was out. Okay, great. So, whew, exactly what it was. See, the devil wants you to sit there and enjoy the hellfire. But that's the thing. I was hearing this earlier and I was seeing a frog, because a frog can go into hell and come out. But also with the frog, if the degree of the temperature of the pot is getting hotter, but very slowly, you'll be cooked to death without even knowing. But if you jump into the fire, if you jump into the heat, you'll know, and you'll know also to jump out. Another thing is gradually deal with the anguish and the stress. Maybe you don't have to do it all at once. And in the future, you will have to do it all at once if you are trying to catch up. Don't be chasing after people. Don't be chasing after the wave. Don't be chasing after the ascension. Now, this is this procrastination energy of like laziness, sluggishness. So another thing that I'm getting, I've been hearing this twice, please change your diet now, because it's going to help with anchoring in this higher vibration. And that came back. It is exactly what they want me to say to you. But you knew that already when I found you on the ground. You were dying. Now you come into my yard uninvited. Can't you see me on the edge? I'm enlightened. Big tunes. Now it's big tunes. I'm giving, crying. Now you die, and I'm living. Fall back. Now you fall back. Don't go back. It's not the exact lyrics, but that's what I'm getting. I won't wait for you. I won't wait for you. I will not wait for you. With your deaf ass, your deaf ears, open your mind to the sound of the trumpet. What do you get up from? What do you get from a life of the hopeless? So it's a futile endeavor, and all of the divinity around you is trying to get you to grow, expand. And if you're staying stuck on stupid, or you're not able to advance fast enough, that's why because austerity breeds change. Austerity forces change. And so the reason that shit is fucked up, excuse my language, is because it needs to be to get your attention. It's a forced change. So they're repelling any type of comfortability so that you find a new level of happiness, a bigger, better one. It's a kind of soul healing, and it's coming from the masculine ancestors. We call it Ade, Togbe Ade. And that's it. That's the full message. Okay. Wonderful, wunderbar. Okay, yeah, that's it. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you today. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to do so. Why don't we go ahead and pull an Isis Oracle? I'm gonna do one more thing here. The uppers. So gossip has come out twice. And gossip is about not just betraying people's confidences and things like that. It's also about lip service. People saying the little chatty Cathys, the little people with their opinions, you know. Everybody's got an opinion. What we need to do is make ourselves ready for God, because what the collective darkness is doing is trying to, See, if we are at a low vibration, we're easy to exploit. And exploitation works like for many different things, many different ways. However, it's always using us, humanity, as a source for the higher beings to perpetuate a shadow government. Now, maybe it has different manifestations, but there's always some hidden truth. And see, this evolution is a mysticism. We're now beginning to understand Great Spirit, the divine, whether or not we're deeply initiated into it or we're just, novice, neophyte, surface level. We have our own connection, our own awareness, our own insight into it. We're students of the mystic, students of the divine, students of the great oneness. And opposing this is this dark energy. Vampire says here, depleting others for psychic survival, chronic codependency, or complaining, versus making ourselves aware that some person, place, or thing, someone or something is draining our life force. It's not just, there's no sexual energies out here, but I use vampire for more than just energy, because this is a downfair class of demon. Downfair means parasitic, it feeds. Sometimes they feed on chi, sometimes they feed on blood. It doesn't matter. They can be an incubus, they could be a succubus, they could be a vampiress. This all downferic class of demons, which means they're feeders, they suck, they leech. So that's what we're leaving behind, a consummation model. And see, it's still in the future, which means there's going to be a war, a battle. And it's better that you choose the winning team now. And this is on the grounds of alchemy. We need to see things in different ways and to transform. So a lot of the sadness should be motivating us into what to do. Gossip, instead of thriving on power of passing on private or secret information or betraying confidence, is shit talking. We should awaken to the considerations of others, honoring trust. We need to trust in the divine and in our mentors. There's a potential for power, but we think we're losing power when something wants to leave our lives. Actually, we're getting new power. Our power is being upgraded. Yeah, what do you want from a life of the hopeless? So death asks, people are saying things and we're not listening. So I was detecting that and we finally got it. This is on the grounds of Isis, the star card, because we're in the dark healing chamber. The dark healing chamber, the most challenging task is to take courage in both hands and journey within to meet our own dark self and begin the healing task of bringing love, acceptance, and light into it. The sacred purpose of any enemy, within or without, is to push us to venture inwards, to seek and to heal the darkness within. It's called the dark healing chamber. And this is because of, on our end, the power over 7 scorpions. It's a channeling, a conjuring. So we called in whatever is coming, and when it showed up, we're beginning to fight it. Something that we wants us, and we're trying to block it out because we want to feel free and at peace. We have a special relationship with the angelic world. Part of our soul purpose is to birth angelic consciousness and values such as fearlessness, compassion, and service into the human culture. This oracle also brings angelic assistance, intervention, and confirmation as well. That can be those ancestors. You know, we've called this in, whatever is coming our way, we've called it in, and we sense that something is changing, but we're asking why, what, when, where, and we're missing the point. Something's going completely over our heads, completely. I'm gonna do one more. It's the angel, it's the emanations. I like to, this is my work here. I work a lot with the Merkaba and the Tree of Light and Metatron and Sandalphon. I work a lot with that energy. understanding. I want to read you out of this book for the Angel of Memory because I can never do it justice. It's just better than what my intuition can say. Zacriel, eternally lost Zacriel carelessly winds and unwinds the threads of thought. Memory has no worries or concerns. You're safe to wrap yourself in the bands of time gone by as well. It is a warm and safe within the fog of Zacriel. All you knew greets you, welcomes you, and longs for you. The power of remembrance is balanced by the power of forgetfulness. Pouring memory into the cup of forgetfulness makes room for new memories. Zacriel is the angel of all memory, even memory that is lost. If you take something within you, you must also leave something behind. Signs here are a knot, a loom, a maze, and the knot of Isis came up in this deck as well. So what I'm picking up is we have to endure, face instead of run. And yeah, it will feel like something's being taken away. We have the angel of snow and the angel of sky and the angel of dreams. So we conjured something up. We called something forth from the universe. But it created some conflict, turmoil, ordeal, struggle. And sometimes conflict, it breeds change. It's like friction. You need a little friction for the car to start. It's called combustion. You need a little friction to even empty your bowels. It's the bacteria. So if it's nothing, if everything's harmonic, you're not going to value or even be willing to make a change. You need a little bit of difficulty in order to usher in a change. But you see, this newness is something that we called forward. And it's coming from the heavens. Let me show you this angel of memory here. So that's it. I'm thoroughly satisfied here. I've done my job. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to do so. If anything that was said resonates deeply with you, why don't you go ahead and check the show notes and take good care. Namaste, Dandava, and Ashe. Bye, everyone.